Belize's economy may be bouncing back, but is it really catching up? In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic brought tourism to a standstill and sent the economy into a sharp decline. Fast forward 5 years, and the government is celebrating an impressive 8.2 GDP growth in 2024, second highest in the region. But a new study is raising eyebrows. Economist Victor Bulmer-Thomas says that despite the recovery, Belize still ranks as the third poorest country in the region. His message: the numbers may look good, but they're hiding a much deeper problem.
I then asked the question of, well, why? What has happened that might have brought that about? And I focused on three things in particular. One is exports, which are really not high enough for a country that like Belize, and which aspires to have a higher standard of living. The second was the low investment ratio, particularly by the private domestic investors who face all sorts of difficulties in trying to compete with the foreign investors, for example. And the third thing was the issue of government spending. Government spending really needs to be higher because Belize faces a huge deficit in terms of education, health, all those sorts of things which are needed to bring the standard of living higher. But to increase government spending, there has to be an increase in government revenue.
Using data from the Statistical Institute of Belize and the Central Bank, economist Victor Bulmer-Thomas found that Belize's income per capita in 2024 is nearly the same as it was in 2007, meaning living standards haven't really improved. He suggests that the government could boost revenue by cracking down on tax evasion instead of raising taxes. Dr. Dylan Vernon from the Belize Policy Research Institute says the country still faces major economic challenges.
There has been a decrease in living standards and indicates that we are comparatively in decline on that metric. So the paper basically highlighted that. It told us why, which is basically the fact that we have low investment, we have an export situation where we're not exporting enough, importing too much, and so that contributes to the issue.
According to the study, Belize's position has also declined in Central America over the past few decades.
I'm not going to single out any country in particular, but given that there are 34 countries in the Caribbean, if you include all the non-independent ones, 16 independent and 18 non-independent, all of them trying to export services like Belize, there are many, many examples of successful service exports, not just tourism, which Belize could look to try and diversify its economy and raise its standard of living.
Could a data-driven strategy be the key to unlocking Belize's economic potential? A new study thinks so. It recommends that Belize start using something called the input-output matrix, a tool that tracks how goods and services move between industries.
We will be making, in fact, we are making the paper that was presented accessible, free of cost, downloadable on the website of the University of Belize, on the page for Belpre. And also we have done a couple flyers that break down the information for wider access. But the most important thing that Belpre will be doing now is to advocate for use of this input-output approach as a policy-making tool for Belize.
Belpre hopes to share this information with relevant stakeholders and the public to fuel the mission for a more robust and sustainable economy. Britney Gordon for News 5.